Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Ghost Rider, issue number one. This is a 2022 edition, so no special title, just Ghost Rider. All right, cool, let's go. And this was a gorgeous cover, holy crap, but it confused me a little bit. I'm going to explain all this good stuff as we move on from there. Also, the thing that I dislike the most about this comic book is a big deal without being a big deal at all, which is really weird, but I'm going to explain all that. Let's get talking first about who made this comic book. So this issue is called Breakdown. Benjamin Percy is the writer, Corey Smith on art, Brian Valenza doing colors, and VC's Travis Lanham on letters. Kale Ngu on cover art. I know I butchered that name, and my apologies. And a whole bunch of variant covers, as should be expected, I suppose. But for the most part, they're all really solid people, so yay! Anyway, with the cover, I actually thought it was going to be Danny Ketch, which wouldn't have made me upset at all. There are multiple Ghost Riders. Let's actually use the two best ones, right? Anyway, the cover was absolutely gorgeous, out of control gorgeous, but they changed Ghost Rider's bike. They changed Johnny Blaze's bike, so it looked like it was actually Danny Ketch's version. Whatever, minor complaint, it is what it is. Anyway, this this book, man, it was a mind trip. It was an extra long comic book. Like I was reading this thing and reading this thing and reading this thing. It's on digital. I'm scrolling down. I'm like, holy crap, I'm not even halfway through. It's like this was a long comic book. Very little Ghost Rider action in this at all. And yet I was still really into it, you know? Good understanding. This is Benjamin Percy. And that's actually really important. Let me go to my biggest complaint about the book, which again isn't that big of a complaint. The title page, beautiful title page, right? The problem with the title page is that it was at the end of the comic book. Look, I know that's a thing that DC has been doing and had been doing, and it's been done for a while now over at DC. Marvel, there are some lessons that you can learn to avoid by seeing people do it wrong. I hate when a title page is at the end of a comic book. It's not just a personal displeasure. This time it was actually really important for it to be in the front, for me at least. Because I read the front page of the comic book and it said Percy at top. And I was like, okay, cool, Percy, and Smith as the artist. There are lots of Smiths. And it doesn't say who the artist is on the cover of the comic book, you know? So I just see Percy and Smith. And I was like, are those both are they co-writers? Like, what's going Percy who? Smith who? Like, I don't know. I didn't put it together. When I saw the title page, and I saw writer Benjamin Percy, I'm like, oh, Christ, the comic book actually makes so much more sense now, right? It genuinely makes more sense because Benjamin Percy has a very distinct writing style. And if you know that it's him doing something, then you'll understand where it's going. This guy loves mysteries. This is the guy who did Wolverine, The Long Halloween, or not The Long Halloween, the Long Winter, or whatever, the Wolverine podcast, right? That he made into a comic book also because of the wild success of it. He's a guy who loves writing long form, who loves writing mysteries, and does them pretty damn well too, you know? So I didn't understand this comic book. I got to the end, I'm like, this doesn't make any real sense, you know? Plus, Marvel has this thing, it felt like the comic book just ended. And then it said in the next issue, boo, 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 boo. But it said in the next issue after it gave me the title page, which again, let me realize it was Benjamin Percy doing this. Because there were a lot of loose ends. There was one major loose end, like, who's this chick who came in and she hunts monsters, right? Like, I hunt monsters. It's pretty good, right? And I see this, I'm like, what the hell am I reading? What? Where did she go? What happened to her? You know, they're talking about the disbanding of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the FBI now. And, well, you know, you're supposed to at least say please when you ask for $500,000. And it's, dude, what's going on here, right? Too much of it didn't make sense. But a lot of the problem is that Marvel is stupid. No, seriously, let me explain. When Marvel does a one-shot, they call it issue number one. When Marvel does an issue number one, they call it issue number one. How do you know what is and isn't a one-shot? Especially when a comic book is as long as this one. I sat here reading this incredible story, and I'm mesmerized by, like, holy crap, something's wrong. something's deeply wrong. And you could tell because, like, he's married to Roxanne, he's got kids. The girl I don't think was even named. Crash Simpson is back, right? Like what? What? There was so much great stuff in this comic book. Mysteries, things that, like, the police questioning you, but just asking a question and you say in a really weird way, oh, wow, that's weird. He's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna leave. Like, so many weird things in here that just left me kind of going, what the frig? Okay, obviously they're trying to do some mind screw thing. He's got a scar with, freshly stitched, it looks like, on his head. The stitches are still in. Like, what's going on here exactly? Did they remove the Ghost Rider or try to remove the Ghost Rider presence of Zarathos from his head? Like, what's going on? There was such a brilliant mystery here. But since I didn't know Benjamin Percy, I didn't recognize Percy. I'm like, Percy Pringle? What the frig? If the title page would have been in the front, I would have immediately known that Benjamin Percy was the writer of this comic book, because I'm not going to flip to the back of the comic book to see and spoil the ending. Like, come on, what do you think I am? Some kind of a savage? Anyway, if I would have known that Benjamin Percy was doing this comic book, was writing this comic book, everything would have made so much more sense, because I would have known to let go of trying to understand the comic book and simply follow along, because it's Percy and he's going to take me on a trip. He's not going to give me the answers right away, and he's going to do it in the form of a really well done mystery. I'm not going to feel like I'm stupid for not understanding what's going on. I'm going to know I know exactly what the protagonist knows. No more, no less. So it's going to be a solid mystery. I'll bet you this guy would write a killer Sherlock Holmes book. I'm saying. But I enjoy that he does the snickety snick and, I am vengeance stuff every so often. I'd love to see this guy write a Punisher book also, right? It's hard to make a solid Punisher book, but man, I'll bet you this son of a gun could do it. And I would actually like to see it in the form of a Marvel graphic novel. I'm just saying. This book would have been, if the title page were in the front, where it belongs, this book would have made so much more sense. I would have been able to let go and trust the comic book. I'm sorry, does Marvel not have confidence in who Benjamin Percy is as a writer? Hello? The guy loves writing mysteries, and I love reading his mysteries. So the biggest mistake this comic book made was by doing this. I didn't know if this was a one-shot, some kind of a one-off. I didn't know if this was a continuing series. It is a continuing series. I don't know how good the next issue is going to be, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be reading the next issue, because I would like to see where this goes from here. But at the same time, you could read this as a one-shot and just know that there's a big story here, and then just let your imagination flow from this point, because it was really so well done. The art on here, Corey Smith, such a bland name, Corey Smith, right? It makes me forget that Corey Smith works for Marvel or freelances, no benefits. But makes me forget that there's a person like Corey Smith out there drawing this incredible artwork, and he did. Brian Valenza did a fantastic, I don't recall Brian Valenza's name offhand. Maybe I've seen some of his colors before, I don't know, but all of this together, Brian and Corey together, Corey and Brian, whatever, together, fantastic in this book. Such brilliant stuff. Here's another problem that I had with this incredible comic book. There was some stuff going on with the painting in the psychologist's office with the pig. I thought it was brilliant until they pointed it out. There's some things that you're going to do that some people are going to miss, and it is what it is. That's on them. But when you have something happening, and those of us who are attentive, and we see what you're doing, but you don't point it out, and it's almost like it's a dirty secret. Like, it's like, people talk about comic books with each other. When you go to the comic book store, and F Comixology at this point, right? So Like seriously, screw Comixology from this point forward. I can't navigate. This is a week later. I can't find anything. I'm like, show me the new releases. The special picks that you have for me. Nothing. Okay, show me all the other new releases. It says there's like 199. Nothing. Show me anything? Nothing. Wow, you suck. Amazon sucks. And Comixology's been owned by Amazon for a really long time, but now transferring everything over there, well, you guys suck. I bet you they had 0 sales this week. Now I'm willing to put money on it. You know what I'm saying? I bet you they had 0 sales because this was just terrible. Patton Oswalt put out a freaking tweet last week talking about how bad it was. Like when Patton Oswalt's complaining about something that's not SJW related, it must be big. Anyway, man, this book. What was I complaining about? Say something. Oh, anyway, yeah. So if it's like a private thing that you just think, the pig, the stuff that's happening with the pig in the back are cool. But when Johnny turns around, he's like, what's going on here? When you make the whole panel just about what's happening in the painting, it's like, man, you screwed up. Because I felt like I was, in on some dirty little secret. Like I said, when I go to the comic book store and I'm talking to, what are some of the ones that you liked? Oh, dude, I would love to be able to say, dude, the Johnny Blaze stuff that was happening. You know what I'm saying? The Ghost Rider from Benjamin Percy and Corey Smith, right? I thought it was fantastic. It's like, oh yeah, it was really good. The story was dark and, surprised you didn't know what was going on. And Percy's amazing. Yeah. Did you notice the pig painting? What do you mean? The pig painting? What do you mean? And somebody else comes up, oh yeah, the stuff that was happening. Dude, that was like a story in of itself, right? It was like a comic book in a comic book. You didn't know what was going on. I was like, yeah, right. It's like, oh dude, I need to go back and reread this comic book. Holy crap, what was going on with the pig? Dude, no, you got to read it. Those are the brilliant moments that make you love and pick up and recommend a comic book. When you just literally point at it, you screwed the whole illusion up. You screwed the whole thing up. That was a huge mistake in this comic book, man. A comic book that's otherwise brilliant, beautiful, well-written, gorgeous, amazing. And like, the magician doesn't sit there and point at the strings, in his levitation trick. So that was just a huge mistake in my mind. Just such a terrible idea. Don't point out the magic. Let us witness the illusion and be baffled by it and wonder, right? Because it's just, that was bad. Anyway, it is what it is, guys. Basically, it's like when you point at the thing that maybe some people aren't paying attention to and only the elite few are, it's like you're calling everybody stupid. Just don't call people stupid. It's rude. I know, I've called people stupid before. I've never been friends with them afterwards, it's not a good idea. I'm just saying, right? Guys, go and check out this comic book. Also, go and like this video. It's right there. It's right there. Like the freaking video. Watch an ad. Talk to you guys later. Watching an ad might make me do more videos. Who knows? All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.